what Commander Bafana is talking about, which is to now build the structures on the ground. And you have seen the production of the Constitution, which was a very important step. And then you have seen the deployment of the officials. You've seen the installation of the new Secretary General. There's now the space that was created by that deployment of the national organizer has now been also filled. You know, the National High Command met, was it a week or two ago, Commander? Yeah, we met in Durban over 2 days and looked at all those developments. So that's the perspective. Yes, there are parallel structures. Yes, there'll always be opportunism. But the point I'm making is that the organization is busy going back to the ground to build, to rebuild, and reconcile those structures. And that work is going on wonderfully. Here in Gauteng, where we are deployed, there's a lot of progress that is already being made, as mentioned in Mpumalanga and various other provinces. So going towards next year, we will be stabilizing the organization. By the time we're talking about the second anniversary this time next year, you'll be talking about a completely different picture, a more national picture, even in the provinces where we are currently weak, because of the high command people who are deployed there. Some of the reports we're getting are very positive. So by the time we get to 2026, then the picture will be totally different, and we'll be competing even better than we did this year. Right. Now, the issue of dual membership, again, that issue is misunderstood. You must read the Constitution very carefully. What that clause says is the following. It says, save for very highly exceptional circumstances, dual membership will not be allowed. Now, what are those highly exceptional circumstances? This has been explained before by our Secretary General. The best example is which is happening, even yesterday I was called about some councillor who wants to move from a party that I won't mention for the sake of peace. Wants to move into MK. And my advice to that person was, no, don't do that. If you're going to move into MK, you must then invoke the clause on dual membership. Why is that so? Because councillors are there by virtue, those who are there, for example, for proportional representation as opposed to direct election, are there by virtue of being deployed by their parties. Okay? So if you leave the party, you lose your membership of that party. So those kinds of people may be allowed, as an example, to have dual membership, so that if they want to retain their former party, some of those people have one-person parties that I've referred to, then they can do that. So that clause was really for those. It's a transitional clause, and that's why we talk about highly exceptional circumstances. But no, we've dealt with the attachment. The issue of the issue you raised about former President Zuma's dual membership. He has explained this many times, that his view is that the real ANC was hijacked by what we call the ANC of Ramaphosa, and that the ANC that he was a member of for 65 years is what he's fighting for, to remain a member of. And as far as he's concerned, he says that Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't have the right or the authority to kick him out of the ANC. And that is the context in which he decided that because there was no longer room for debate within that party, an alternative vehicle had to be formed for our people. But, again, those are issues that are handled by the former president and his foundation. As far as MK is concerned, the issue is the one of the dual membership. The ANC might not allow dual membership, that's why they kicked him out, but we do.
Thank you, Advocate. Any follow-up? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Muna from the Million Guardian. Look, Advocate, I just want to know, number one, who are you going to be in JSC? Are you aware if anyone is going to be in the position? And number two, we saw the EFF case yesterday in the Constitutional Court. Are you guys as MK in support of that case? And what do you, as a legal mind, think is going to be the outcome of the arguments that were there yesterday? And also, is the MK party still in, because I've heard a lot of the so-called smaller parties that you guys have been saying, let's merge and form one thing. Is that something that you guys still believe will be what, because you call it liberating South Africans, forming one big party? And lastly, in the issue of hailing of insults against your president, against yourself as well, and some of other people are coming from other parties, how do you take that? I was not here when you were explaining, so I'm just interested in that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe let me start with this one of hailing of insults, even though he covered it, the Advocate, before you came in, but just for your interest. MK Party has positioned itself as a revolutionary, disciplined party, and a party that is driven by political content rather than theatrics, you know. So we're not going to go into that space of people provoking the party or even its members for political grandstanding. So our point is that we have postured ourselves as a party that must provide alternative to our people. We are focused on the task of transforming South Africa and making South Africa a better place. So any other thing in that space, we are not coming. Assis.
Yes. Yes, I did explain this, Lunga. Look, as far as I'm concerned, well, fortunately, I don't know, I've not seen any insults directed at me, yeah. But any insult directed at anyone is the same as one directed at me. Where, when I grew up in the struggle, we said an injury to one is an injury to all, yeah. So our position is very clear. It's in the Constitution. It's not even our, what we're articulating here is in the Constitution of the MK Party. Now, and that Constitution says you will not be attacking other political formations, even under provocation. So, in fact, the more you provoke us, the more quiet we're going to be. That's going to be the order of the day. The judge is not us. The judge is the people of South Africa. When the people of South Africa go to the polls, they will decide whether they want to deal with those who are insulting or those who are insulted, as it were. Yeah. And you know, and that position, by the way, is not a position that is taken out of cowardice. I must make that very clear. It's not a position that is taken out of cowardice. It is a position that is taken out of political maturity. For 400 years, our people were defeated because they were divided. The enemy, since they arrived here in 1652, knew that the way to deal with the people of this country is to divide them. And for the past 400 years, that they've been doing that in various forms, either by fighting us in so-called tribal formations, up to more recently when they formed homelands, and the so-called black-on-black violence that I spoke about of the 80s. All those were forms of dividing our people to ensure our perpetual oppression. So we're not going to do that. It's hashtag Andizi, or MK says hashtag Andizi, to repeating the same mistakes of the past centuries. And as I say, those of us who witnessed some of these things, can remember right here where we are, where people were being butchered and killed. There are children, if you walk around here, who have no parents, because of that. So we're not going to, we're not available for insults. We're available to be insulted, but not to dish out insults. All right. Now, I think I've covered you, Lugana. Or the JSC.
Yes.
Yeah. No, there's no issue on the JSC. Again, I think the National High Command will pronounce itself on this question around when the court cases are taking place. But as far as I know, the last statement was that the person, if the issue is reopened, I think the organization will probably field the same candidate that they fielded before.
Smaller parties.
The case yesterday, yeah. No, of course. I mean, the position of MK on the Pala issue is very well known. You can find that directly from the statement that was issued by former President Zuma on the 16th of December 2023 at the launching of the party. That one of the issues he raised was the discrepancy in the treatment of that case as compared to other cases. So to that extent, we are hoping, but you never know. You are asking me to speculate on the outcome. Well, in this country, I think if you speculate about court outcomes, you can lose a lot of money. What about the smaller parties?
Yeah, there's still prospects of.
Oh yes, the so-called merger. No, you know what? I don't want to use this platform now for this. Maybe I can talk to you some other time, because that's something directed at me. This nonsense that I said that parties must collapse into MK is a lie. It did not happen. It's just something that never happened. Yeah. But as I say, we'll deal with. It's fine. It's once again, it's one of these issues where we don't need to respond, but we'll respond in due course. Unity and merging are two different things. The mere fact that we're saying we might want to unify parties means that people are free to stay in their parties. If you want to stay in the PAC message resonates better with you, that's fine. If it's AZAPO, if it's the ANC, whoever who can be regarded as a progressive party. And that's why we talk about a unified platform. And that's why I made the example, for example, in the continent.